Hello, my name is Rebecca. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I'm a student at OSU. I'm doing this video for two reasons. One, it's the final project for a pop culture queer studies class. Our assignment is to become the media. So here I am, sitting on my steps, becoming the media. Earlier in this term, I was doing some research for a paper and found ally listed as one of the letters in LGBTQAI+. For those of you that don't know, lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer, questioning, asexual, ally, intersex. And I was totally excited when I saw ally listed in that because I got to be a part of the LGBTQ community. But then I read another article, Can Straight People Be Queer by Dora Mortimer. And it became pretty clear that I wasn't a part of the community. I'm an ally. I may be weird, but I'm not queer, and to adopt the identity as my own sort of diminishes the value and experience of folks who are queer. Violence, hate, discrimination, rape, murder. I have the option to adopt the good bits while rejecting the violence and the hate and the discrimination. I get to adopt the diversity and the celebration while rejecting internalized homophobia because I'm not gay, I'm not bi, I'm not intersex. There's a whole bunch of systems that I don't have to deal with. I have a vagina, so sometimes I worry about my safety and my autonomy in that aspect, but I also don't have to worry about multiple intersections of gender identity or sexual identity. And then I read another article outlining the responsibility of being an ally. And this article was inspired by another article. So one of the things that's not listed on my list of important things that an ally should be doing or not doing is reading. We should be learning. We should always be in touch with what's going on and open to other perspectives. But Jamie wrote this article in response to another article, and I'll post all of the links and the titles and references in the description below the video. She broke down kind of what it's like to be an ally. What's an ally? An ally is someone who participates in social and political change on behalf of others who experience more intersections of oppression than they do. So what that means is I can be an ally for anyone with less privilege than me. I can't really be an ally for somebody who has more privilege than me. It would be really hard to be an ally to somebody who could potentially oppress me. What are my privileges? That's a discussion for another video, but you could probably name a few just by looking at me. I have to be aware of what my privileges are in order to be a useful ally. Another thing about allyship that strikes me as relevant is power. I'm a huge superhero fan. There's a sentiment about power in superhero movies where the hero is having an ethical or moral dilemma, and it's resolved when someone they care about, usually Uncle Pete, reminds them that with great power comes great responsibility. So I have privilege. I have power. These are things that I didn't necessarily earn, but I still have a responsibility with that power. I have a responsibility to avoid oppressive behavior and acts. I also have a responsibility to interrupt oppression when I can. And that leads me to the next bullet point, if you will. Being an ally is a relationship. In a relationship, there needs to be trust. The people that I work with need to trust that I'm not going to take their vulnerable bits and use them to oppress them. I need to be open to criticism. People need to be free to tell me when I'm effing up, or when I'm being oppressive, or when I'm using language that's offensive, or I have a perspective that's a little off based on my own privilege. I need to be teachable. I need to be flexible. I need to not be attached to the results. I also need to not be attached to my ideas. I don't get to tell the group I'm supporting how I think they should feel. They get to express their feelings, and I don't get to have an opinion about it. I'm an expert in me, so I would guess that you're an expert in you. You know what your intersections are. You know where you've been taken advantage of, where you've been oppressed. You know where you've been hurt or harmed. And I don't have any place to say how or what you define that as. We both get to express what we need, and then together we get to figure out how to meet those needs. And that's a relationship. Allies are also a little bit like underwear. They should be supportive and comfortable, but invisible. No ally gets to brag about their good works. I don't get to pat myself on the back while high-fiving the folks that I work with at an event. One of the hardest things for me is that allies never take a break. I'm always on the lookout for isms. I'm always reading. I'm always investigating. I'm always objectively paying attention to the things that are going on around me. Is that sexism? Is that racism? Is that homophobia? Is that ageism? Is that ableism? What is that? Why does that feel weird to me? And in my home life, I've started saying microaggression as kind of a reminder to my family when they're using oppressive language as a joke. These jokes aren't funny to me. Sometimes it's depressing. I work hard to challenge myself and to shift my understanding, and to have to deal with that at home sometimes feels kind of hopeless. If I can't get the people closest to me to understand how their behavior informs and influences oppression on a grander scale, how can I get strangers to understand? Why would people I don't know give a shit about what I have to say if my family doesn't give a shit either? Sometimes I feel a little like hiding under the covers and never coming out. But I don't. I don't have that privilege. I'm awake. I see what's going on. I have to stay awake. I have some power, and with that power comes some responsibility. I have an obligation. And besides, I know better. When I know better, I have to do better. And thanks to Oprah, we now have that saying. And I think the last thing to mention is that ally is not a recognized identity. I wasn't born this way. Although my mother would argue that I've had an overdeveloped sense of justice since I could talk. But I kind of dispute that phrase and suggest that some people have an underdeveloped sense of their own privilege. So while I see where things aren't fair, people poo-poo me when I say that's BS. It's just that it's uncomfortable for people to give up some of their power so that other people can experience less oppression. I know it gets complicated, and we don't want to lose what we've got, even if we didn't earn it. At the end of the day, I need to know who my audience is. I'm not teaching queer folk anything. I'm speaking to other white women who are like me, who are mothers, who are possibly students. I'm speaking to allies. I'm speaking to people who've been told that they have an overdeveloped sense of justice. This is just the beginning. I have a long list of things that I want to chat about. Leave a comment or find us on Facebook. Keep your eyes peeled on Tumblr and Instagram too. Until next time, be good to each other, make good choices, and reject injustice and oppression. Thank you.